Hey guys, it's your friend Doc here. Just wanted to do a quick little video talking about initial assessment. And this week's two number one books that I picked up is Patra by James Robinson and Scott Collins, and Wolverine Revenge by Jonathan Hickman and Greg Capullo. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first book we're going to talk about is Patra, issue 1 of 4 from Dark Horse Comics. Again, written by James Robinson, and the art is by Scott Collins. This was very intriguing. I really liked it from a psychological aspect. You've got a character, which I'm assuming her full name is Cleopatra. So, excuse me. So, it's a murder mystery at first, because Patra's family has been murdered, and you're trying to figure out exactly who it is that did this dastardly deed. Well, the only person that survived out of this entire massacre was Patra, and she now wakes up in the wilderness, not really sure where she's at, and feeling hunted and alone. And all of a sudden, she gets a scare mask and this big giant knife. So, the first thing that really stuck out to me is I haven't read too much James Robinson stuff. I know that he's done Starman, which I'm waiting for the day to find one or both of the compendiums on sale at some bookstore so that I can pick them up, because $50 a pop, is just not in the cards at the moment. I'm sure that it's worth it. I've heard that series is really, really good, but at the same time, like I said, $50 a pop with 2 books is not in the cards. On the other hand, Scott Collins' artwork I'm familiar with from his Flash run back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But this artwork has a totally different vibe than that artwork that I was familiar with. It's not a bad thing. It still has a lot of detail, and it has a scratchiness to it that kind of reminds me almost of like Charlie Adlard or somebody like that. And it can be cartoony at moments, and then with the same character, it can be very realistic. So, I really enjoyed this book. And you get a surprise ending that you don't really see coming. She finds out, or at least the sheriff's department finds out, who the killer is. But the only thing is that he's chasing her for his own nefarious purposes. And the killer actually was one of 3 children that was taken in by a family many years ago. But then that family didn't take them in to love on them and support them and provide them with nourishment and a good home. Instead, that family tortured those 3 children, and it was Jeremy and his 2 sisters. And you come to find out that Jeremy tried to kill the stepmom and the stepdad, but at the same time, his face was injured, and then he lost his 2 sisters in a fire. So he goes around trying to find other quote-unquote sisters, but then they never really stack up to who he thinks they are. So is that why Jeremy is chasing Patra? Is that why he killed her family? We don't really know just yet. But this is interesting enough that after the initial assessment, I'm going to say that I need continued treatment from this book. And that I think if you like murder mysteries, if you like stories about humanity, stories about family ties, any kind of Dean Koontz type of thing, I think you'll dig this. And I think you should give it a good shot. And I'm going to say that this book is very strong. I'm gonna give it an A minus, and I'm gonna say it's very strong. And if you need something like this in your life, I would definitely say that you should go for not just issue 1, but as you should continue treatment with issues 2, 3, and 4 as long as they stay as strong as this inaugural issue. Okay, and the other book that I've got to talk about is Wolverine Revenge. Like I said, this is from Jonathan Hickman as the writer, and Greg Capullo making his return to Marvel Comics after being away for almost 3 decades, maybe more than 3 decades. I know he took over X-Force for just a minute after Liefeld left, but he didn't stay on for very long because McFarlane scooped him up, and by the time that Spawn hit issue 17, Capullo was the first guest artist on that title, and then he stayed on as the main artist for Spawn for a long time. So Greg's been gone from Marvel for a long time, and unfortunately I have to say that it shows in his artwork, because Wolverine, when you see Wolverine, he's got Wolverine on lock, okay? His Wolverine looks very, very strong and very good, and it looks like Wolverine. On the other hand, when you dig into this and you end up having Captain America and the Winter Soldier, they look very generic. They don't, I don't know. I'm just not digging his Cap, and I'm definitely not digging his Bucky or his Winter Soldier. You know, you think of Capullo almost in McFarlane terms on levels of detail, you know, and even his Batman run that he had with Scott Snyder, now what, 12, 13 years ago? And this face, and most of these faces, to me, are just cartoony. Now again, the Wolverine always seems to look the best out of all of these characters, and he looks more like himself than any of the other characters do. Unfortunately, the other thing that I have to say about this book is it's very much a Michael Bay explosion fest, and the story doesn't make any sense. You've got Wolverine out in the jungle who gets dropped on a visit by Nick Fury, who is the original Nick Fury, apparently. You know, that was more David Hasselhoff rather than Samuel L. Jackson. But at the same time, he says that Asteroid M has detonated above Canada and killed hundreds of millions of people. I haven't read the X books in a long time, but I was watching another video earlier today, and I did a little research after that, and it just looks like the character designs, like the character design for Colossus, okay? Because you get Colossus is one of the, not villains per se, but he's thrown in with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And you don't really know if it's real or if he is playing them, you know, playing along to try to get and infiltrate their sanctum. But the main 3 bad guys that you do get are, come here, you. Where did it go? You've got Deadpool, because Deadpool, the movie just came out, they had to throw him in there. Then you've also got Omega Red on the right over here, and you've got Sabretooth, which is Wolverine's, you know, kind of other half. Bigger, meaner version. So you've got those 3 as the main antagonists, and they're controlled by Mastermind, who is helping them to try to save the world in their own twisted sort of way, the way that they see it. Again, Wolverine looks really, really good in this series, but the other characters, they just don't. I don't know. I don't want to say that Capullo phoned it in, because this is just his first issue, and it could very well be that he just needs some time to get his legs back underneath him with Marvel characters. If you had John Romita Sr. draw Spider-Man for, let's just say, 20 years straight, and then they ask him to switch over to Thor, I have no doubt that John Romita Sr. could have drawn the hell out of some Thor. But it's not going to look quite right until he gets on there for a year or maybe 14 issues. It's going to take him a minute to switch gears and make Thor look correct. Just like he made, Spider-Man look correct, or like he made Batman look correct, or whatever book he might have been working on. So, initial assessment on this book is it's fun for popcorn, explosions, Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer type of summer antics. But unless the book picks up with issue 2, I'm going to say that you should probably not continue to pick this book up, and that you should find some other treatment, perhaps Patra, for example, or the return this coming up week of Nice House by the Sea by James Tynion. But anyway, I can't recommend this book. I was really excited to pick it up. I was really excited to read it. But like I said, between the artwork and the writing, I'm just going to have to give it a C. It just didn't live up to expectations. So, unfortunately, we had one really great book this week, and then we had another book that was supposed to be gangbusters, and it just didn't pan out that way. But anyway, guys, that is the two number one first impressions, initial assessment books that I read for this week. Did you guys pick up either Wolverine Revenge number 1 in the regular format or the Red Band edition? And let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And then, if you didn't, did you pick up Patra? Did you read that? Try something different. Not so superhero-y, but a little bit in a different wheelhouse. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Pop down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought, both of the video of this series, and also, what did you pick up this week that was a new number 1 that I didn't talk about that you thought was cool or not so cool? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and have a great night, and we'll catch you in the next video.